Hi guys, and welcome back to the channel. Tonight we're going to make a herb roasted pork loin with mushroom ragout, smoky greens with cranberries, and an oyster stuffed acorn squash. I think Michael's going to love it. Starting to make the mushroom ragout first because I am going to have to reconstitute the shiitake mushrooms. I have those that are going to be mixed with white and bella mushrooms, but these are the ones that are dried. So we're going to reconstitute them in some vegetable stock that I got. See here. All right, I went ahead and cut my acorn squash in half. I'm only going to use half of it for today and another half for a separate recipe because it's just Michael and I tonight and we really don't need this much food. So I'm going to go ahead and freeze up the rest of the squash. Now I'm going to be making, making wild pecan brown rice. It's basically brown rice infused with pecans or pecans, however you want to say it. And the rice is going to be mixed in with the oysters and sausage and a few other ingredients to make the stuffing for the acorn squash. So I'm going to go ahead and get my rice going. Now I do alter the recipe for this. I know you're thinking, gee, how can you alter rice? But basically they call for 2 cups of water, and in place of water I'm using vegetable stock because in my opinion it adds more flavor. So we're going to wait till that boils, then add in a tablespoon of butter and the rice and pecan seasonings that came along with it. Now for my oyster stuffing, I'm starting out with some onion and extra virgin olive oil. I'm going to saute that with some ground Italian sausage. Then I'll be adding the oysters and some cranberry apple, dried cranberry apple, which we have right here. And that's going to get turned into, because I am only stuffing 1/2 of the squash, I'm only using half a package of the sausage. The rest is going to go ahead and go into the freezer. And I have to use canned oysters. I didn't have any at the store today, so we're going to be using this can along with the juices that are in there. It's an 8-ounce can. This is a look at the fruit I'm using. It's actually baking cranberries because they did not have any fresh cranberries, so this is what we're going with. I went with the cranberry apple julienne cut. It has a little bit of cinnamon flavor. The other choice that they had was cranberries with orange, which probably would have been just as good, but I wanted to go ahead with the apple because, you know, it is fall and apples are a big part of fall. So that's what we went with. I'm going to put about a cup of these into the pan. All right, I've got the oysters in there along with the sausage and the onion. I'm going to go ahead and add the cranberries. I also threw in about 2 ounces of raisins, and I'm going to let that simmer in there for a little bit. And I threw in sea salt, black pepper, and dill to taste. Didn't go too heavy on the pepper because of the hot Italian sausage that went in there. And checked on our rice. It's doing well. Should be done soon. And like I said, this will get tossed into the rice. And I'm going to cover the inside of the acorn squash with some extra virgin olive oil and stuff it really well, and then stick it in a preheated oven, which reminds me, I have to preheat the oven in just a little bit. I'm kind of holding off on that at the moment because Michael won't be home until later on today. It's 4:30 now. I have to pick him up at 5:30, and that's when I will go ahead and stick everything in the oven. It shouldn't take too long after that, so we'll let that finish cooking. Right, I went ahead and oiled the interior of the squash, and I'm also going to add some dried sage to the oyster and hot sausage mixture. This sage came out of the garden, if you remember, and I ran it through the pepper mill. So we're going to go ahead and throw a pinch or 2 in there. I went ahead and took a spoonful of the pecan rice and a spoonful of the oyster and hot sausage dried fruit mixture and mixed it together in this bowl here. That should be enough to stuff that squash. So we're going to go ahead and stuff that. We're preheating the oven at 350 degrees. Should take 30 to 35 minutes to cook the squash all the way through, which should be just in time to turn off the oven and go pick up Michael. I'm putting the squash in, and I also have some of the squash seeds that I'm going to roast and use for the smoky greens with cranberry. Here's a quick look at the pork loin. It was seasoned with rosemary, thyme, and basil. And olive oil to help make the seasoning stick. I'm going to go ahead and wrap that in foil, pop that in the oven as well. I've got my baby Bella and white mushrooms here. The shiitake are still being reconstituted. So we're going to go ahead and chop these up, rough chop, throw them in with the other mushrooms in the chicken broth and let them sit for a little bit. Now, I misspoke earlier. It's not chicken stock that I'm using. It's actually vegetable stock. So I have all of my mushrooms now together in 2 cups of stock. And I'm over here, I'm going to chop up 3 cloves of garlic and onion that I'm going to go ahead and saute, and that's going to eventually be worked into the mushroom ragout. I went ahead and chopped up the fresh parsley, and we have the mushroom mixture simmering. I brought it to a boil. It's got the wine in there and the vegetable stock, and it has to simmer until it's reduced by half. Then we're going to add some cream and the parsley. Finish it off. Alright, now I'm going to go ahead and start working on the last component of tonight's dinner. It's the smoky greens with cranberries. I've got a little bit of EVOO in the pan here. I'm going to cook up some smoked bacon, and once the bacon is cooked, then I'm going to go ahead and throw in some wash and dried spinach, a little salt and pepper, grated nutmeg, some dried sweetened cranberries, and a little bit of chicken stock, about 2 cups. And let that simmer down. The greens will get nice and wilted, and that'll be one of the side dishes to go along with the herb roasted pork loin, the squash with the oyster stuffing, and the mushroom ragout. The mushroom ragout's done. I finished it with some Parmesan cheese and smoked Gouda and parsley, fresh parsley, and there's our greens. We're going to go ahead and plate everything up now.
The wife has made a special dinner.
Dive on it.